So welcome everybody on Facebook Live to our Power Watts at Home workout today. Today we're going to be doing Power Watts at Home workout number 23, and it's called Urge to Surge. We are going to be doing lots of accelerations to 120% today, and part of the challenge is those accelerations to 120%, you're not going to do them in isolation. You guys are going to do them right after high cadence drills or right after active recovery segments at powers like 75%, 85%, 95%. So it's going to be a good blend of some of the exercises that we did over the last couple weeks, and we'll see how you guys do. So we're going to be starting the workout in 20 seconds. So those of you guys at home who are joining in, not using the app, get ready to start pedaling just to time it just right. Those of you guys on the app, in 15 seconds, it's going to automatically start. And Sylvie, I'll tell you when to press play on your app. Now I can see you. That's great. Now we got a good angle for you, Sylvie. All right, guys. So here we go. So we're underway with the workout. We're going to start just by riding for 4 minutes at 50%. And we got a couple others joining in too. Sting is just joining in. And Sylvie, in 20 seconds, you're going to press play. I'll give you a 5-second countdown before you press play, and then you should be dialed in. And Trophy Wife, I could see your data coming in real nice. So that's great. Okay, so Sylvie, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and press play. I can't unmute you, Sylvie. Oh, it seems like there's another connection coming in.
It started automatically, Mark.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't, for some reason, I don't see any data in your gauge, though.
No?
You could, if necessary, you could refresh. Do you see data in your gauge?
No, I don't.
Okay, so you might just have to click refresh on the page, and you'll lose the connection momentarily, but then you'll jump right back into the warm-up.
And where is refresh, Mark?
So that's just on the top left of Google Chrome. You'll see like a left arrow, right arrow, and then like a little circle-looking arrow. If you click that, that'll refresh the page. We're going to lose the connection. We're going to lose your connection for 20, 30 seconds, but then when it refreshes, you'll be able to jump back in. Or do you have a keyboard in front of you?
Yeah, I do.
You could press F5 on the keyboard.
Okay. Function 5. No, did it do something? It didn't seem like it did something.
No, it didn't seem like it did the refresh. So you just gotta refresh the page, and then you'll be good to go. All right, guys. So we're just working through a couple things to get everybody connected on time. So we got Sting in here as well. Sting, how you doing today?
Very good, Mark.
Were you texting and riding at the same time, Sting?
No, not at all.
No? Okay.
Not at all. No. I wouldn't do that.
You wouldn't do that? Because that might not be a good habit to do, to get used to doing.
No, I'm not able to ride with no hands in a real life situation.
Oh, really?
Nope.
So
Never.
I don't think maybe now's probably not the time to practice and learn how to ride with no hands either. Maybe save that, for another time.
You don't have any techniques to share?
Well, there are some techniques. The key thing is that you have to learn how to control your bike from your hips. A lot of people control their bike from their hands, so right away when they take their hands off the handlebars, it kind of wobbles all over the place. But if you if you think about managing the orientation of your bike from where your center of mass is around your hips on the saddle, it works a lot better.
I'll let you know how that goes.
Yeah, maybe put on your Michelin Man suit or something, just in case if you try that.
There we go. Not the time to end up at the hospital.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. So just so you know, so in 5 seconds, we're going to be going to 60% watts, 90 to 110 RPM. For the rest of the warm-up, we're going to be alternating 1 minute higher cadence, 1 minute lower cadence. And Karine, I see you're in on the session. Karine, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Thanks so much for joining in on the workout. Did you manage to connect your power? Do you see your power?
I'm working on it as we speak.
Working on it. Okay, excellent.
Yeah, there's IT here.
Oh, yeah. You have your own IT support. Wow. You're well set up there.
I know. Otherwise, I would be nothing.
Yeah. So I could see your gauge. I could see your video very well. So it's just a matter of me being able to see the stats in your gauge. There we go. I can see the stats in your gauge, Karine. You are connected up. Fantastic. All right, guys. So now next up, we're going to stay at 60% and we're going to go 60 to 80 on the RPM. Okay, so low RPM for a bit now. And I'm just going to go back to Sylvie. So Sylvie, you haven't managed to refresh your page yet.
Yeah, it did, but now it says please connect your power meter.
So okay, so it says reconnect your power meter.
Yeah.
So what you got to do, in the just in the top left corner, it says your name, and then it says your power output, and just beside that, there's a little button that you can click. It kind of looks like a Wi-Fi signal.
Yeah.
So you can click that button, and then you'll get a list of all the devices that you can use to connect.
Thanks. Okay.
And did you click Did you click it and click pair?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, and I can see your data in the gauge, Sylvie.
Finally.
Amazing, great stuff. Okay, so now we're about to go to 68%. So slight increase in power, guys. We're going to go to 68%, 90 to 110 on the RPM. Okay, good. So seems like we got everybody connected up. So now the goal is 90 to 110 on the RPM. So great stuff. And Trophy Wife, how's everything going there?
Good. Good.
Good?
Yeah.
And okay, there we go. So I just lost your stats for a second, but now your stats are back up, so we're good. And just yeah, keep it up. There we go. Fantastic. So good work, Trophy Wife. So I'm glad you're riding with us as well via the app. And so JF and Brenda, so right now you guys just want to be riding at maybe a 4 or 5 out of 10. Let's just let's go to Sylvie's screen for a second. Sylvie, could you unmute it?
Yes, I can.
And who's that dancing in the background there?
It's my son, Gabriel.
Oh, you have your own cheering section. That's incredible, Sylvie.
Yeah.
She's the best, that's why.
Wow. Amazing. Okay, guys, so now 60 to 80 on the RPM. So back to JF and Brenda, guys. Just try to be at like a 5 out of 10 effort. And right now you want to be pedaling at a slower than normal RPM. So Brenda, you can go, yeah, a gear or two harder just to bring that cadence down a little bit. Okay, so let's keep it up, guys. So what we're doing with our warm-up here is we're just, every 2 minutes, we're increasing the power. So right now we're at 68%. Then we're going to go to 76%. When we go to 76%, though, we're going to do it for 2 minutes. One of the minutes is going to be at high RPM, and one of the minutes is going to be at lower RPM. The goal here is just to warm up your entire cadence range. There are multiple surges in today's workout. Okay, so let's go to 90 to 110 on the RPM now. So a couple gears easier to spin the legs a little faster. There's multiple surges that are part of today's workout. On the surges, there are no cadence targets. So you guys could choose if you want to do it by pedaling faster, pedaling slower, or you can even choose to stand up if you want. So this is a good warm-up to prepare the lower RPM and the higher RPM so you can experiment with which kinds of strategies you want to use to hit the higher powers. There are going to be some high cadence drills as part of today's workout as well. They're not at high power though. They're moderate power. So the power is going to be at 80%. And then the cadence that we're going to work on, we're going to go to 100 RPM, then 110 RPM, and then 120 RPM. So it's a 1.5 minute exercise. You're going to start at 100 RPM, and then every 30 seconds, we're going to increase by 10 RPM. So there we're trying to really solicit and engage your fast twitch muscle fibers and improve your pedaling technique and smoothness at the high cadence. Okay, so now let's go to low cadence, 60 to 80 on the RPM. So those higher cadence drills that I was telling you guys about, again, it's a minute and a half at 80%, and every 30 seconds we're going to increase. We're going to go from 100 to 110 to 120. We're going to do that 3 times throughout the workout today, and that particular exercise is the first exercise in a series of 4 exercises that we're going to do. So that first exercise is going to get the leg speed up, engage the fast twitch muscle fibers, hopefully prompt your body to use a slightly higher cadence during the surges. And then right after that, we're going to jump in to the main drill of the day, which is going to be a mix between riding a steady power of 75% in the first exercise and surging to 120%. So sometimes you'll ride steady and then surge, or you'll surge and then ride steady. The order is going to change. So now we're going to go to 84%, guys, 90 to 110 on the RPM. So the order of when you're going to ride at the lower power and when you're going to surge is going to change throughout the workout. But that's the main idea is you do the high cadence drill first, then we go into 3 exercises that involve surges to 120%. And we're going to repeat that structure 3 times throughout the workout. And the thing that changes is not the high power, not the high cadence drill. Those stay the exact same. It's the low power that's going to get progressively higher. So in our first drill, you guys are going to be riding at 75% and then surging to 120. On the second drill, you're going to be riding at 85% and then going to 120. And then on the third drill, you're going to be riding at 95% and then going to 120. So we're going to explore the subtle but important difference in effort of a surge based on the lead-up power. Okay, so let's go to 60 to 80 RPM now, guys. So back to the slightly lower RPM. So great work. So the main idea, the main thing we're going to take a look at is how a lead-up power is going to affect the surge. And in some of the drills, you're going to be holding the lead-up power for longer periods of time, and then you're going to surge once. A couple times you're going to surge twice to 120% within the same block with that aerobic power or lower power in between. So we're going to see how that affects each one of you guys. So excellent. So now we're at 60 to 80 on the RPM. Looking across the board, we got good numbers on the power, good numbers on the cadence. Sting, just for fun, go 1 gear harder. Good. So Karine, that's looking good. Good power, good cadence. They got you at 86%, 72, 73 RPM. So that's fantastic. Okay, guys. So now the next 2 minutes, we're going to be riding it steady at 90 RPM. So we're going to ride, instead of alternating the high and the low RPM, we're going to ride steady 90% on the RPM. So take a moment here to get to that 92%. And then find that gear that gets you as close to 90 RPM as you can. So Mean Gene, well done. Almost bang on that cadence. Good work on the power output. So Sylvie, power is good, cadence is good. Nice work, Sylvie. Gail, excellent work. 92%, 94 on the RPM, so that's definitely good. Whenever it says 90 RPM, it really means somewhere between 85 and 95. So if any of you guys are as low as 85 RPM or as high as 95 RPM, consider your cadence good. If you go higher than 95 RPM or lower than 85 RPM, though, you're going to want to tweak the gear. So Sting, that's looking good. Right around 90%, 92 RPM. And Karine, very nice, around 95 on the RPM. And good work on that power output. Average power 94%. So good stuff, guys. So JF and Brenda in the last minute of the warm-up now start to bring your RPE level up a little bit. You guys are doing a good job on the cadence. Looks like both you're a little bit more than 90 RPM, actually, but keep that up. And slowly bring that level of effort up to maybe an 8 out of 10 effort. And Professor and Miss Piggy, great riding, guys. Nice positions. Cadences look good. So let's keep it up. And super job, trophy wife. So we got 30 seconds left here, and then we have a 2.5 minute recovery. And if any of you guys are slow to warm up, what you could do in the last 15 seconds here is you can go a little bit over that 92%. just stay in the gear you're in and increase your cadence a little bit more. That's a good way to get some of the kinks out if you find that you're a bit slow on the warm-up part of things. So Mean Gene, good. And Gail, nice acceleration. Corinne, Sting, good little accelerations there, guys. Okay, so 2.5 minutes of recovery, so let's back it off. So good stuff, guys. And Corinne, just a question for you. Is your timer in sync with everybody? You're on the recovery period now?
Yeah.
And you see 2 minutes and like 8 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Fantastic. Just wanted to make sure you were well synced. All right, so great stuff, guys. So good warm-up. So the warm-up, again, we did some high cadence, some low cadence, so that way you guys can explore your different cadence options during the surges. So Mean Gene, how was the warm-up for you?
Yeah, great. Thanks.
And you're still riding on that higher saddle position that Mario set up for you?
Yeah, higher and back.
And has it had a positive effect, do you think?
I think it has.
Okay, because that may have been the source, and you got some really good info from your physio. I'm going to follow up with you on that, but the source of maybe some of that initial issue may have been you were riding with too low of a saddle for a while. So I'm glad that that's arranged now.
Excellent.
All right, guys. So let's take a look at what we're going to be doing on our first drill. So we're going to be doing 90 seconds at 80% watts. The first 30 seconds at 100 RPM. So 100 RPM is a high cadence, but most people are comfortable with that. Then we're going to go 1 or 2 gears easier to go to 110 RPM, and then another 1 or 2 gears easier to go to 120 RPM. This drill is probably best done in the small ring. So you guys can go in the small ring, you go to 80% 100 RPM, and then when it's time to go up by 10 RPM, you can go 2 gears easier, and that'll bring you up by about 10 RPM. As we go, the cadence is going to get higher and higher, so you guys are going to have to gradually compact your body position. So the trick to do that is to tuck your bum like a scared dog a little bit, lean a bit forward into the handlebars, and tuck the elbows in. And what you could do with your hands too is instead of pulling yourself towards the handlebars, you can actually push against the handlebars a little bit. So your body's leaning forward to create forward pressure, and you're pushing with your hands to create a backward pressure, and that really stabilizes the upper body. So that'll come into play at the really high RPM, like 120. Okay, so let's start by getting to 80%, as close to 100 RPM as you guys can. Suggested to do this in the small ring. So Jeff and Brenda, do your best to get to what you think is 100 on the RPM. The power output is not super challenging here. It's going to be more the control of the cadence. Okay, so those of you guys on the app, the numbers are looking good. Miss Piggy, keep an eye on how fast the professor's legs are moving. Or maybe Professor, just keep track of Miss Piggy's legs and try to match her leg speed. Okay, so 1 or 2 gears easier, guys. Now think about compacting your body a little bit more. So lean a bit forward. Tuck the bum a little bit more. You can even dip the toes down a little bit more to get that leg speed up. So, yeah, good stuff, guys. Good work on the cadence and on the power in the app. Okay, and now the last 30 seconds, we're going to go to 120 on the RPM. So I want everyone to really brace themselves. So really tuck the bum, really lean forward, really tuck those elbows in. So 3, 2, 1, and 1 gear easier. And you want to make sure, imagine like you're the road runner here, guys, and Wile E. Coyote is chasing you. You want your upper body to be completely stationary, and you want all the movement to come from the legs. Engage the core, guys. That'll disassociate your legs from your upper body, so there'll be minimal movement in the shoulders. So great work, guys. Keep up that leg speed. Way to be, Jeff and Brenda. Super job, Gail. Sting, great cadence. Good. Way to be, Mean Gene, Sid V. And super job, Kareen. Okay, so back it off. So well done, guys. So some really good power and cadence numbers. Trophy Wife, 129.5 RPM for the last 30 seconds. Fantastic job, Trophy Wife. Okay, so now we're going to do 1 minute at 75%, leading into the first surge of the day, which is going to be 30 seconds at 120%. Okay, so everyone, rate to 75%, choice RPM. So 75% here. JF and Brenda, think about an RPE score of maybe 6.5 or 7 at the 75%. So now our next 3 drills, you guys are going to do 1 minute at 75%, then 30-second surge to 120. Then you get a 30-second break, and then we're going to go back to 75%. You're going to surge to 120% for longer, and then after that surge, you're going to go back to 75%. And then the third exercise that we're going to do, you start with a surge, then you go down to 75%, and then you surge again. So we have the surge at the end, we have the surge in the middle, and then we have the surge at the beginning and at the end. So that's the structure of the drill. So get ready, guys, for our first surge to 120%. There are no cadence targets, so you could choose whatever cadence or body position you want. You can go ahead and do it standing, sitting, high cadence, sitting, low cadence. So 3, 2, 1, and here we go, guys. Let's accelerate it up to 120%. Off the initial acceleration, if you go up into the red for just a moment, that's fine, that's good. Showing good acceleration. And then take a look at that power output and really work on getting it nice and stay to 120%. Karin, way to be up out of the saddle. Fantastic. We got Miss Piggy up out of the saddle too. Gail, great control. Gail doing it with cadence. Wow, great RPM, Gail. And super job, Mean Gene and Sid V. So we got a short break, guys. 30-second break. So everybody was good with the power. We had some very different RPM strategies. We had Gail and Sting at around 110 RPM or more. We had Karin standing up all the way. And we had Mean Gene and Sid V and Trophy Wife using a moderate cadence in the middle of the cadence zone. So that's great. So keep exploring different strategies. So here we go, guys. 75% watts again. So 30 seconds at 75% watts. And now the 120% that we're going to do is going to be for a minute. And it's going to come in the middle. So at the end of this 30 seconds, we go up to 120% for a whole minute. And then we're going to do 30 seconds at 75% after the minute. Okay, so when the minute is done, it's not rest, it's active recovery at 75%. So get ready, guys. Whatever tactic you want, let's accelerate it up to 120%. So quick surge. I'd encourage you guys to try a slightly different strategy. So Miss Piggy, if you want to stand up for the first part, that's good. But sit down at some point to work on that. To work on the sitting aspect, good. So Karin sitting this time, good work. Sting, way to be. Using different RPMs tactic. Great way to be, Sting, and keep building up those average watts. So Gail, that's looking good. Sid V, great standing position, Sid V. Keep that up. Try to sit down, Miss Piggy, for the last 30 seconds. Keep it up, Professor. Way to be, Mean Gene. Wow, bang on 120%. Great pacing, Mean Gene. And keep it up, Trophy Wife. Keep working that power output and that cadence. So we got 15 seconds to go, guys. Keep the pressure underneath your feet. Keep the pressure on the pedals. And when we go down to 75%, don't suddenly release that pressure. Very slowly ease down the foot pressure. So keep it up, Jeff and Brenda. Keep the foot pressure, guys, and slowly bring it down to 75% over a couple seconds, and hold that 75% for the last 30 seconds. Good. And of course, holding 120% for a minute, a little bit tougher than holding it for only 30 seconds. But let's see if you get a bit of a sense of recovery with this 30 seconds at 75%. And then in just a moment, we have an actual 30-second recovery period. So super job from everybody at the 75%. So good stuff, guys. So get a little bit of recovery. Now we're riding at 30 seconds rest. And now our last one in this block, we're going to do 30 seconds at 120, 1 minute at 75, and then 30 seconds at 120 again at the end. And then we have a longer recovery period. And then you guys will be familiar with the interval structure of the day that we're going to repeat 2 more times. So let's get ready. Quick surge to 120%. 3, 2, 1, and here we go, guys. So up to that 120%. Good acceleration. We got Trophy Wife out of the saddle. Working it. Good work, Jeff and Brenda. Put out, a solid maybe 9 out of 10 effort here for another 15 seconds. And then go to a 6.5 or 7 out of 10 at 75%. Okay, so 10 more seconds, guys. Keep it up, Professor. Well done, Miss Piggy. Kareem, great work on the standing. Standing higher cadence this time. Great work, Gail, using that high cadence. So now ease it down to 75%. Keep that foot pressure. Wow, well done. Those of you guys on the app, I didn't see any blue there. We saw a nice smooth transition to that 75%. Now, what's happening inside your body right now after surging to 120%? Your muscle contractions create waste products and byproducts that your body is learning now to recycle and reuse for energy at 75%. And some of the energy that you recycled, you can even reuse it on our final surge here, 30 seconds at 120%. So the high powers and the low powers are equally important to get the intended training effect. That's from a workout we did a couple weeks ago called Lactate Shuttle. Some of you guys might remember. I explained the principle a little bit more in depth in that workout. Okay, so let's get ready now. Final 30 seconds at 120%. And then we got a longer recovery period, 2.5 minute break. All right, guys, so put the hammer down. Let's do it. 120% for 30 seconds using a choice strategy. So now we got Sting out of the saddle. I'm sure you've been waiting for that. Way to be, JF and Brenda. Super job, Sid V. Excellent power output, Trophy Wife. Miss Piggy and Professor, that's looking good. Professor working hard. Gail, great job on the cadence. Gail going with the high cadence again. That's fantastic. And Mean Gene, nice power, nice cadence. Corinne, super job. All right, guys, so let's ease it down. So 2.5 minutes recovery. So great drill. So you can see it's pretty rapid fire, that kind of drill, where you got to alternate the accelerations and the active recovery powers with only very limited recovery in between. So Jeff and Brenda, how'd that exercise go for you guys?
Okay.
Did you overdo it, JF, or do you think you paced yourself just right?
No, I'm still warming up.
You're still warming up? Okay, good. So you won't be overdoing it yet. I think you'll probably be pretty good for this next block, though, in terms of the warm-up. How about you, Brenda? How you feeling?
Yeah, it felt good.
Felt good? Good. Great execution, Brenda. Well done. So, Sidvi, how'd you find that exercise? You'll have to unmute yourself.
Yeah, it was good. I'm out of breath.
You're out of breath? Yeah, the 120% will do that. Good thing you got the recovery period here. But great work, and you're able to follow along well with the numbers on the screen?
Yeah, I am. Thank you.
Fantastic. Way to be, Sid V. And Corinne, how'd you find that exercise?
It was good. It was tough.
It was tough. So you agree with Sid V? And you're able to follow along the numbers in the screen, okay?
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. So way to be, Corinne. Trophy Wife, how'd you find that exercise?
Good. I liked it a lot.
I know you love the surges. This is right up your alley, Trophy Wife, with your huge surging capacity. So super job, Trophy Wife. And Gail, how'd you find that exercise?
I really liked it. It was great.
Have you ever done anything like that, riding outside, varying your paces like that?
Yeah, I do, but like you're dealing with, the wind and the road and somebody in front of you or in back of you, and it's much more, I don't know, I really get a chance to like dig into it inside instead of worrying about all the other factors,
Amazing. And when outside, if somebody's in front of you, and if they're in your way, you could just tell them to get the F out of the way, so that way you can blow by them. Do you ever do that?
Of course.
Good. I'm glad you use that strategy. Okay, guys, so now next block, we're going to be doing 1.5 minutes at 80%. We're going to be starting at 100 RPM and then going up by 10 RPM every 30 seconds. So everybody go down the small ring here. Okay, so let's go to 80% and 100 RPM. Okay, so it might take you 10-15 seconds to settle in here and getting as close to 100 RPM as you can. And Mean Gene, I want you to be especially attentive to the feel of riding at 110 and 120 RPM. See if you feel like you lose connection to the pedals at the bottom of the pedal stroke, because that'll be an indication if your saddle is too high. But if you feel good connection at the bottom of the pedal stroke, then we know your saddle height is good. Okay, guys, so 1 or 2 gears easier, 110 on the RPM. So compact your body, tuck the bum a little bit, lean forward into those handlebars. Bring the elbows in, and you could start to push against the handlebars a little bit to create stability from the handlebars, and you create stability from the saddle by tucking the hips. Because we're going to need that now. We're going to 120 on the RPM. Okay, so get ready, guys. So another gear or 2 easier. And here we go, 120 RPM. Let's do it, let's do it. Try to keep those upper bodies as steady as you can. Really work on pistoning the legs. Great focus, guys. Great position, Professor and Miss Piggy. You guys are like super stationary. Keep that up, Sting. Nice work. Way to be, Sylvie. Let's keep it up on the cadence. Wow, we got some really good cadence numbers. Now we got Gail over 130 RPM. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. All right, so short recovery period. So 30-second recovery period. So that was that primer to prime the fast twitch muscle fibers to get you guys accustomed to that faster pedaling. And you might choose to use that in the surges that are coming up, but you don't have to. So great cadences across the board. So now we're going to do 1 minute at 85%. So all the 75% from before are now 85%. We're going to explore the difference in difficulty as a consequence of that. Okay, so let's go to 85%, guys, for a minute. And then it's 30 seconds at 120%. And for the high cadences, Trophy Wife, again, you did over 120 RPM. That's great work. Mean Gene, 120 on the RPM. Gail, over 130. Sting, 118. Karina, 117 on the RPM. Those are really, really good RPM numbers, guys. So you can think about the skills that you used at that high cadence to minimize the waste of energy by compacting your body, using your hips in a certain way, using your hands in a certain way on the handlebars to stay super stable on the bike. Even if you're not going to a super high cadence, you could try to use those same principles at 120% watts here to minimize any waste of energy. So we're going to be going in 15 seconds. It's your choice in terms of the power and the cadence, but we want to see a quick acceleration and a nice steady 120%. So here we go, guys and gals. Bring it up in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. So great accelerations. Way to be, Brenda and JF. Keep up the good work. Sting, I just think you should probably wrap your fingers around the handlebars. Yeah, I've gone flying over the front end of the handlebars a few too many times because I didn't tuck my fingers like that. So keep that up. So let's hold that 120 a bit longer. All right, let's ease it down for 30 seconds of recovery. So great power. And again, different cadence strategies from each rider. So I think that's great. I'm really happy to see everybody exploring different options. So the next one might be the most challenging one for you guys. We're going to do 30 seconds at 85%, 1 minute at 120, and then 30 seconds at 85% again. And I want you to focus just as much on the 85% as you do on the 120. All right, so here we go, guys. 85%. So let's settle in. Depending on how you're feeling, depending on what your strategy is at 120%, you might be pedaling fast now if you plan on standing up at 120. If you're going to plan on pedaling fast at 120, you might want to be pedaling a bit slower now. That way you have a contrasting technique at the high and the low powers. All right, so we're going to be going in just a moment here. Let's see quick acceleration and then settle into 120%. So 3, 2, 1, and let's go, guys. Good, super job. Way to be, Professor. Trophy Wife. Great standing position. Great initial surge, Trophy Wife. And now try to settle into the target. Way to be, Mean Gene. Mean Gene, bang on that 120% or even a touch above, right around 90 on the RPM. So that's great work, Mean Gene. All right, so Sting putting out the high cadence to pull this one off. Keep it up, Karine. Good. Nice transition. Back to sitting, Karine. Keep up that power output. So great job, Sylvie. Professor and Miss Piggy both standing up. Nice positions. Good. Good transition to the sitting, Miss Piggy. So keep it up, JF and Brenda. We're almost there, guys. Then it's not recovery, okay? It's active recovery. So keep that foot pressure and slowly bring it down to 85% in 3, 2, 1, and slowly bring it down to 85%. Good stuff, guys. I like how you took that relaxing breath there, Corinne. That's great. Now let's keep it up at 85%. That's a good tactic. After you guys come off a really high power, you can exhale a bit longer than usual as you ease it down to the low power. That's a good way to reset your breathing rhythm from a very rapid breathing to a more slower and controlled breathing. So we're almost there, guys. So 3, 2, 1, and let's back it off. So 30 seconds of recovery. Okay, so we got one more now. So it's 30 seconds at 120, 1 minute at 85, 30 seconds at 120. Then we have a 2.5-minute recovery period. So now we're going to see the effect. We're going to really see the effect of that 85% in the middle. See if you could still get that sense of recovery at 85%, or maybe it's going to feel quite challenging. We'll see. So let's get ready, guys. 3, 2, 1, and up to 120% using a choice strategy. Excellent work. Yeah, Brenda, great work. Nice standing position. Jeff as well, great standing position. We got Mean Gene in the arrow position. Way to be, Mean Gene. Keep that up. Sylvie, great power output. Really putting out the big watts. You too, trophy wife. Good job. So now, keep that foot pressure. Focus on steady foot pressure here. And just slowly decrease the cadence to go down to 85% without going below. And once you get to 85%, maybe you'll go a gear or two easier, depending on what kind of cadence you want to be using at 85%. And then we got to rip into the 120% one more time. What I want you guys to do on this last one is when it's time to go to 120%, I want you to put more emphasis than usual on the first 6 to 8 pedal strokes without even looking at the gauge. Stand up or do it sitting. A quick, real hard pistoning of 6 to 8 pedal strokes so you go way over 120%, and then look at your gauge and ease the watts down to 120% afterwards. Oftentimes outdoors, when you have to do a surge, the surge has to be initiated quickly, and then you settle into the effort. So that's what we're going to practice on this last one here. And it's not easy to do that when the lead-up power is 85%. Okay, so get ready. So just count 6 to 8 pedal strokes in your head here, real high power. So 3, 2, 1, and snap down into those pedals. Throw yourself into the pedals. Okay, so it's just a couple seconds. And now look at your power and hold it 120% the rest of the way. That's another great technique to increase the engagement of your fast twitch muscle fibers, and it's a slightly different system in your body that allows you to do those accelerations, so it's good to keep it fresh and sharp. Good, way to be, Gail. Great focus, great position. Super job, Sting. Way to be, Mean Gene. Jeff and Brenda working hard. Excellent work, trophy wife, and back it off. Super. So that was really well executed, guys. And I'm just looking at some of the numbers here, and we got a lot of you in the red. Your average power ended up being more than 120% simply because you invested a little bit more energy in that initial acceleration. So that's a good use of energy in terms of a practical application. If you're outside and you have to quickly close a gap or accelerate out of a corner, couple hard pedal strokes, and then settle back into the rhythm. So Mean Gene, how did you find that exercise?
Yeah, I loved it.
Great. And were you okay at the high cadence at the 120 RPM?
Yeah. Yeah, I could feel my feet on the pedals even at the down part.
All right, excellent, excellent. So I think we got a much better seat position for you set up. So super job, Mean Gene. Great exercise and way to practice putting those power outputs on in the arrow position. It's definitely a bit more challenging in the arrow position to get the powers. So I'm glad to see you practicing that. And trophy wife, how'd you find that that set? A little bit harder than the first one, or about the same?
A little harder.
A little harder. The difficulty. Did you feel the difficulty more at the 85% or at the 120%?
At the 120.
At the 120. Okay. And you still felt like you were recovering a bit at 85%?
Yeah.
And what about you, Sting? Are you still recovering a bit at 85%?
Yeah. What you don't see, Mark, is I have like a cheering gallery over here.
Well, why don't they step
So they're
into the
like-
image? Why don't they step into the frame so we can see them?
They're not cheering me, they're yelling at me. So,
They're yelling at you to get off the bike and
I'm
do
not
stuff
allowed-
for them.
no, they're not allowing my arrow to go down.
Oh.
If it starts to go down, they're yelling.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad you got them locked off so they can't distract you too much. Okay, guys, so we got our we got our last exercise here. So it's the second to last exercise, second to last one. Same structure as the first two, but now the low power is 95%. So this is a whole different beast. 95% is a threshold power, so it's gonna have quite an effect. But before we do that, we're gonna do our building cadence drill. Okay, so everyone go to 80% and 100 RPM. Good idea to be in the small ring here. And then we're going to go to 110 and 120 RPM. And I want you guys to just practice implementing the same tactics that we practiced in the first 2 repeats of this exercise, and really emphasize the minimal waste of energy by anchoring to your saddle, anchoring to your handlebars, and spinning the legs quickly. Okay, so let's go to 110 on the RPM. So 1 or 2 gears easier. Okay, good. If you find your shoulders are moving a lot, you got to reconnect to the saddle. You can think about tucking your bum a little bit more. Imagine a magnet between your butt and the saddle. You can also think about engaging the lower abdominal area to help lock down the legs so the upper body doesn't move as much. Okay, last 30 seconds here. So 1 or 2 gears easier, guys. 120 RPM. So here we go. So really spin the legs. Really spin the legs. Really challenge yourself on that cadence. Good. Great focus, guys. Some really good positions. Some really great numbers up on the board. Everyone right around that 120. We got some of you guys over the 120. Good. Way to be, Corinne. Way to be, Sting. Keep it up, Mean Gene. Super job, Gail. Wow, Jeff and Brenda. Great cadences, guys. And Miss Piggy and Professor, well executed. Okay, so a little bit of recovery. Definitely getting to 120 RPM, even though it's only at 80% watts, is quite taxing. Now, your reward for that effort is to go 1 minute at 95%. Okay, so we're going to go 1 minute at 95% and then 30 seconds at 120. So let's see how this is going to affect the feeling of the surge. So 3, 2, 1, and here we go. So there's no doubt that it is more difficult because you're at 95%. As the drill progresses, the thing to really ask yourself to learn a little bit more about your underlying physiology is, do you find the 120% harder, or do the 120% feel all about the same as they did before, but the 95% feels a lot more difficult? More anaerobically oriented riders can hammer it out at 120% without a ton of difficulty if the duration's only 30 seconds, even if there's a higher lead-up power. More endurance-oriented riders might not feel as much difficulty at 95%, but when it comes time to surge to 120, it's going to be a challenge because of that need to change from an endurance-oriented style riding to that surge and the fatigue that's been accumulated during that minute at 95%. Okay, so get ready, guys. Let's go up to 120%. So 3, 2, 1, and drive down into those pedals. Quick acceleration. And then we hold the 120 the rest of the way. So excellent work, guys. Got a lot of you guys standing up to get to the power. I think that's fantastic. We got Trophy Wife Corinne, Mean Gene still sitting down. Great leg strength, guys, you guys are showing to get to that power and cadence. Sid V, great standing cadence. Keep that up. Way to be, Gail, as well. Higher than usual standing cadence, Gail. That's great. Okay, so let's ease it down. 30 seconds of recovery. So now the next one. 30 seconds at 95%. 1 minute at 120%. And 30 seconds at 95% again afterwards. The final 30 seconds, guys, is just as important as that minute at 120. So make sure you don't lose your focus when we're done the 120% segment. You still got to hold 95. So here we go. Up to 95% in 3, 2, 1. And here we go. Get the leg speed back up there, Trophy Wife. So nice and smooth and steady here at 95%. Choice cadence. Choice body position. The surge, now that it's a full minute, you might choose to break it up into 20 or 30 second chunks and change your tactic at some point during the minute. Maybe half of it sitting, half of it standing, or stand, sit, stand, something like that. Okay, so 3, 2, 1, and here we go. Quick acceleration. Excellent. And now let's hold that 120. The last 30 seconds, the last 15 seconds of this 120 is going to be pretty challenging. You can reach into your bag of tricks when it gets difficult. If what you're doing is working, stick to it. But if it's starting to get more difficult than you want it to be, make a mild change, like changing the pressure underneath your feet, or sliding forward or back on the saddle, or make a major change, like getting up out of the saddle or switching from standing to sitting. Okay, so we got 20 seconds to go, guys. Lots of fitness to be gained here in the last 15 seconds by holding it steady. Keep it up, Karine. Way to be, Sting. Super job, Sylvie. Great work, Gail. Mean Gene, that's looking good. Jeff and Brenda, great effort, guys. Keep it up, Professor and Miss Piggy. Keep working that cadence, Professor. Now hold the foot pressure, guys, and ease it down to 95%. Try not to go in the blue. You got to keep a lot of foot pressure here. Excellent. Way to be, Trophy Wife and Sting. So we're almost there, guys. And now try to do a little adjustment here, maybe a little positional adjustment. Or maybe just try to relax the face, neck, shoulders, elbows after putting out that high power at 120%. And now you got a 30-second recovery. Super. So great power outputs through that one. Sylvie and Karine, both of you guys were over 95%. So that was really great. That shows how well you slowly ease the watts down to the target. And so that's a really good technique. Everybody else basically bang on the 95%. So super job, guys. Now let's go to 120% for 30 seconds. We are going in 3, 2, 1, and shoot it up, guys. Here we go. 120% for 30 seconds. Then 1 minute at 95. That's going to be really interesting to see how you guys feel during that 1 minute at 95. And then it's going to be a 30-second push to 120%. All right, so we're holding that 120. Think about what you want to be doing when we transition to 95. So keep that foot pressure. Slowly ease the cadence down. So let's ease it down. And then you can make whatever additional adjustments you guys want. You could change your cadence. You could change your body position. But let's keep it at 95. And JF and Brenda, hold it at like a solid 9 out of 10 here, or 8.5 out of 10. And then in the last 30 seconds, kick it up to like a 9.5 out of 10. But not a 10 out of 10, because we do have one more drill after. So let's keep this up, guys. Holding the 95%. So everyone, just take a moment to do a quick spot check of your body. Try to relax your face, neck, shoulders, elbows. Take a deeper or longer than usual exhalation to reset your breathing rhythm. Okay, and the last 30 seconds, when you surge, your body might tighten up a bit, your breathing rate might increase a bit, but that's okay because it's only 30 seconds, and then we get a long recovery. So get ready, guys and gals. Last 30 seconds of this exercise in 3, 2, 1, and kick it up. Quick acceleration, quick acceleration. Wow, Mean Gene, great acceleration. Good, Gail, Sting, Sylvie, Karine, all of you guys were up in the red for a moment. And Trophy Wife, you're up in the red for a bit. So really good acceleration. Sting, bang on the power. Nice cadence, Sting. Nice body position. Keep it up, Miss Piggy and Professor. And JF and Brenda working hard. So a couple more seconds. So 3, 2, 1. And back it off. Wow. So great drill. Definitely quite a challenge with that 95% in between. Miss Piggy, what did you think of that exercise?
Out of breath, Mark.
You're out of breath?
Oh, yeah.
Is the professor out of breath?
I really like the last block of each block we did.
So the high power, medium power, and then high power again?
That's my favorite.
That was your favorite? And
Yeah.
Did you find it more challenging at 95% or at 120%?
120.
At the 120? And how about you, Professor?
So it's hard to evaluate, but I prefer to keep it at 95 instead of going at 120.
You know, I think a lot of people would agree with you, Professor, that they probably didn't want to go to that 120, except maybe Trophy Wife. I'm sure Trophy Wife was excited for the 120. So great stuff, guys. Excellent drill. Jeff and Brenda, how's everything going over there, guys?
I'm done.
You're done?
I prefer the 120s.
Oh, you prefer the 120s. Yeah, I figured since you're so anaerobically oriented that you'd like the opportunity to go up to 120. How about you, Brenda?
The 85s were so hard before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And Brenda, what was your feel?
Well, I liked it. I liked it better when you do
95, then 120 for a minute, then 95.
Okay, so that was your favorite one to get the 120 all done in the middle, and then ease it off at the end there. Great. Okay, so it's interesting to hear different people have different feel, and that just goes to show how each rider has their different strengths and weaknesses. So it's really good that you guys become aware of where your strengths lie and take advantage of them. All right, so I actually didn't tell you guys about this last drill. The last drill, what we're going to do is we're going to spend a full 2 minutes at 120%. Okay, so all the drills that we've done to now, like the 30 seconds at 120, 1 minute at 95, 30 seconds at 120, that totaled 2 minutes. And the one before that also totaled 2 minutes. But you were alternating a higher power and a lower power. Now, it's the whole 2 minutes at 120%, and this is going to bring us to the end of the workout. And this is really going to tax your anaerobic system close to its max near the end of that 120% segment with the accumulation of fatigue that you guys have here. So give it a quick start. Start at over 120% for the first 5 seconds maybe. Then settle into 120% and consider increasing your effort only in the last 15 or 30 seconds when you really have that urge to slow down. Okay, so get ready, guys. So 3, 2, 1, and up to 120%. This is going to bring us to the end of the workout. After this, all we have is our cool down period. So really break up that 2 minutes into chunks. Those you guys might remember back to the 2 minutes of hell challenge that we did. We were lucky to have Paulo coach us through that one, and he told us about this middle section that we're about to start from 1.5 minutes to 30 seconds that he called the minefield. That's where you guys have to maintain your focus to resist that urge to slow down. And then knowing that in the final 30 seconds, you'll be able to figure it out. So I want everybody to really stare at their gauge and put all their effort and all their focus on holding exactly 120 through this middle section. And then in the final 30 seconds or final 15 seconds, you just accelerate until the end to keep it up. So the numbers are looking good here. So we got Karine right at 120%, Sting at 120%. We got Gail building up to 120%. Keep it up, Gail. Sylvie at 120. Mean Gene at 122. And Trophy Wife at 125%. So let's keep building it up. Keep it up, Gail. Keep it up, Gail. If you have to, maybe go 1 gear. Yeah, there you go. Or standing up. That's a good idea. Keep that up, Gail. So everyone's right where they want to be. Keep it up, Karine. Great work, guys. Miss Piggy and Professor, super efforts. So Jeff and Brenda, you want to be close to that 10 out of 10 now. So 30 seconds left, guys. So everyone accelerate into the difficulty. Practice accelerating into the difficulty. You might use the same gear and just pedal faster. You might stand up. You got to do something. Keep it up, Gail. You're almost there. You're almost at 120. 15 seconds to go. Way to be, Sting. Keep it up, Karine. Give it a final surge right now, Karine, by pedaling faster. Yeah, excellent. Sylvie, you're good. Mean Gene, you're good. Trophy Wife, you're good. Gail, you made it. Excellent job. So 3, 2, 1, and that's it. Wow, super job on the power output. What a way to finish 2 minutes at 120%. Excellent work. So everybody is kind of draped over the bike now after a big effort like that. Let's just take a look at the power output. So Trophy Wife, 128%. Amazing job, Trophy Wife. We got Mean Gene at 126%, Sylvie at 123%, Gail 121%, Sting at 124%, and Karine at 120%. So everybody made it. Well done. I'm sure Miss Piggy, you made it as well on your end. I'm sure the professor was working hard to keep up with you. And JF and Brenda, super efforts on that last 2 minutes. So what a way to finish with a 2-minute effort like that. And it's interesting. We did all the surges, but it really requires a different technique, a different mindset between surging to 120 and then holding 120 really steady. And I'm sure all of you guys felt that during that final 2 minutes. So excellent work. So Trophy Wife, you led the way on the power on that final 2 minutes. How'd you find it in terms of difficulty?
It was okay.
It was okay?
It was good. Yeah.
Did you find it easier because there was no lead-up powers or anything like that in between?
Yeah, it was easier.
So you were able just to put your head down and hammer out the watts. So super job, Trophy Wife. So great job. I'm really glad you joined the app today so I was able to see how well you did on all your power outputs. So excellent work, Trophy Wife. Maybe Samtastic can get you some ice water or something. I see you sitting behind you there.
This does not go on my report.
All right, so excellent job. And Karine, how did you enjoy your first experience of the live coaching today?
It was fun. It was awesome.
You did a great job, Karine. Great job on the power output. I'm really glad to see you did some standing segments because I know you don't like the standing. And the power outputs were quite good. So I'm glad you had fun.
You want to see the Queen of Standings? Come here.
Oh, yes, I want to see the Queen of Standing. Oh, there. I just keep talking so everyone can see her.
Say hi. Hi. She climbed up, Lansdowne, standing the whole way.
Wow, that's amazing. She'll have to tell us what her techniques are.
I know, I'm trying to get it.
You're trying to get it? Well, Karine, thanks so much for joining and great ride. Sting, how'd you find that final 2 minutes?
It was doable. I broke it down in 30 seconds, so I didn't think about 2 minutes.
2 minutes is
okay.
And what did you do? 30 seconds sit, 30 seconds stand?
Yep. And then I was like, if I was still feeling good, I just kept doing the same thing with the idea that I had an escape strategy.
And your escape strategy would just be to stand all the way?
Yep.
Well, way to be, Sting.
That's
Great finish to the workout today, Sting, and great workout overall throughout. So super job. So Gail, how'd you find that final 2 minute drill?
Brutal.
Brutal.
That was the hardest one. Hardest one for me.
The hardest one for you. And you worked quite hard on the last few surges there. I mean, you went to 141% on the last 30-second surge to 120%. So you may have been feeling that a bit in that last 2 minutes. I didn't warn you ahead of time of it, so we'll call it coaching error. But I'm glad you made it through. You were a little bit below 120 for part of it, but then by hanging on and finishing strong, you got to the target. So excellent. What was your strategy to get to the target when things got tough, Gail?
I just said, it's 30 seconds. I can do it. I can manage it. Okay, but for sure, I felt worse. I saw I had certain points, and I don't really have a choice, so you just do it, And I just said go, and that's it, and I forgot about it.
Oh, perfect. That's commitment. Commitment to the effort.
Commitment to the effort.
Super job, Gail. Okay, so I'm going to stay on Zoom to keep asking you guys some questions, but those of you guys on Facebook, I'm going to be signing off now. Thanks so much for joining to our workout today. The Urge to Surge workout. Everyone did a fantastic job here riding live, and hopefully you guys at home had a great ride. And next workout's going to be Wednesday at 12 noon, so we hope to see you guys there. And until then, enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.